So this is all about how you make awesome videos that are shared across the internet. And it starts with a really brutal truth bomb that you do not create a viral video. In fact, there are great videos that are amazing and have amazingly fun and funny things in them, and sometimes those things go viral. But the idea of like thinking of something amazing and creating it and then having it go viral is just not the way that it happens. You have to think about how you connect with somebody emotionally, what your message is. You have to create something that's good, and then also you have to have a distribution strategy to get everything out there. So now that we've disavowed ourselves of the idea that there is a viral video waiting inside you that will just happen, we can talk about what the steps are to make something good, great piece of shareable social video. So the first step is to form a human connection. And you can do that with dogs having dinner. So we want to think about not talking about you and what you're all about or why somebody should be listening to you or watching your video, but more thinking about why somebody else cares and what matters to them. And this is, I think, the best example that we have.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years, 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities. And another 720 days will go to community activities, like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
So that was Zay Frank, who is the head of our BuzzFeed Motion Pictures, our studio in LA, which is huge and has over 100 people, and they're putting out dozens of videos every week. And according to him, that is actually a personality test. If you watched that video and felt really depressed, raise your hand. If you watched that video and felt uplifted and like full of life and alive, that is another glasses half empty group of people. And now you know where you sit. So that is not a branded video. That is a video from our editorial team, but it informs so much of what we do at BuzzFeed with BuzzFeed Video and how we work with brands. And there are kind of three main pillars that we think about when we think about making a video that people will not just want to consume and watch, but something that people will actually want to share so that they are spreading a piece of content and making something potentially go viral. So identity is a huge one. Something that says something about who you are, where you're from, what you care about, or what you're into. Like if you're super into tats, or emotional gift is another one that is something that's inspiring or uplifting, really emotional, where you see it and you think like, wow, that made me feel really either uplifted or depressed, and you would like to pass that emotion on to somebody else. And then another thing is informational, which I think there are a lot of, we think about like what are the triggers that get somebody to share. And there is, of course, the weird humble brag share of like, wow, 2 of the facts in this video were new to me, which is all trying to make them look good. But then there's also the like, I'm an interesting, intelligent, or interested person, and I found this video really cool, so therefore I will share it. So those are 3 kind of crucial things that most of the content we create falls into one of those categories, and those are pretty good indicators that you created something that somebody else might be interested in. But it's also really important to balance when we're working with brands, balance what their brand goals are with a social strategy. And Jonah Peretti, who founded BuzzFeed, makes a really great analogy about going to a party. And you never, ever like the guy who is talking about himself the entire time. That guy sucks. However, you do really like the guy who's telling interesting stories, and he's engaging, and he's like giving you interesting information and filling you in with facts. Because not only is that enjoyable at the time, but he has given you valuable social currency, so you can turn around and save some other brutally awkward conversation by filling it in with something interesting and also making yourself look cool. So these are a couple examples from a few brands, and we'll get into more as we go. Step 3 here is to speak directly to your audience and say something that will connect with them and be really meaningful. And a good example of that is Clean and Clear wanting to talk to teens who are obviously going through a very awkward time.
Do you like that band, Amiga?
Yeah,
What's your favorite song?
they're all really good.
Do you really know them?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna go to college and become a lawyer or a doctor. What are you talking about? You are very smart and very driven.
Hey, what was that? That thing.
I saw Jameson the other day. He's really cute, right? He's
What's up?
attractive.
Oh, guys, I have 250 likes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, that's cute, right?
Followers. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in it.
for all of you out there who've never been a teenager, you just don't understand. So it's cute, and it hits on a lot of the pillars I just talked about. It is kind of identity of being a teen. It is full of all of those angsty emotions, and it also is light and funny, which helped it get over 2 million views. A small portion of those were paid views, but actually the majority were earned views as a result of teens finding it and thinking like, oh my God, this is so me and my best friends. So something that we've that we rely on is this idea about the emotional force of sharing. So I think we're all familiar with the broadcast model, which is to find like the least common denominator that kind of the largest group of people will possibly connect with on some like very thin level, right? And then you get like network primetime lineup of shows. Obviously with cable, with the internet, everything, it's not like a news story that audiences are really fragmented, so it's hard to find a room full of, a couple million people who will be interested in a video at one time. But if you speak to a very specific niche, that was about teen years, but you saw there was an example of like a Spike show about tattoos. Like you speak just directly and specifically to people who are really into tattoos. Those people will connect with that so deeply and feel that really identifies with them, that they will love it, appreciate it, watch it, and then share it, and in such a way it will reach a huge audience of millions. And also in the not breaking news category, 75% of BuzzFeed traffic comes via social, right? Like people are sharing content wildly on Facebook predominantly, but across a lot of other channels. And then 50% of that traffic is happening on mobile devices, and even 50% of video views are happening on phones, which I still have a hard time wrapping my head around because I don't really love watching video on my little tiny screen, but people are doing it at a really wild clip. So that means that there is an extremely vast network that is capable of disseminating any piece of information really, really quickly, and we see that happen again and again. So once you have a video that's connecting emotionally on one of those pillars and it's speaking to a specific audience, the other really crucial thing in order to make something viral is to distribute. So you have to have a plan. There's a fallacy that the best piece of content that's really well produced, it's beautiful, it's lovely, like it so hits on the point, that thing is perfect and everybody will see it, they'll find it, they'll connect with it, they'll love it, and then you will have a viral hit. And the reality is like some crappy, stupid, grainy GIF that somebody shot on their phone and like happened to upload and then send to people, like that thing goes viral, and some of you guys may have created something like perfect and beautiful and wonderful, and it falls flat. And a big key is to have a plan ahead of time. So this is something that we created in partnership with Purina. As you can see, it's over 18 million views, and you're gonna say like, well, it's a cat video, that was easy. But think about how oversaturated the market for cat videos is, and how much harder it is to break through the clutter of cat videos. So this one happens to be good, in my opinion. You guys can judge. But there's also a lot of work behind it.
Dear Kitten, since I have hissed at you the customary 437 times, it is now my duty as the head of the household to begrudgingly welcome you. Perhaps you are here to replace me, but I must do my duty and educate you on your new surroundings, as Maximilian once did for me. Rest in peace. Dear Kitten, this room here is basically a crapshoot. Either you get the petting of your life, and I'm in two hands, like you don't even know what's going on, or they just lie there and don't do anything. For hours, it's weird. Oh, and I should also point out, on special occasions, they will leave the underwear drawer open to signal their appreciation of me. Just to be clear, it's my spot. It's perfect in there. It's like sleeping surrounded by underwear. Well, I mean, that's exactly what it is. Dear kitten, I remember when I could fit in a shoe. There's nothing like it. Being engulfed in 360 degrees of foot smell. Enjoy it while you can. Dear kitten, because you are so small, you cannot jump, which is sad. Sad for you. But eventually you will, and you will find the places that I refer to as up. This will come in handy, especially around the human larva, which I know smells like milk, but can be a bit grabby. Dear kitten, you should be aware that there are two kinds of food. The first is sort of a dehydrated brown niblet. I think they gave us these because they're training us to be astronauts. Just a guess. The second kind is wet food. It is so special they keep it in little armored metal casings that no claw can penetrate. With no claws to speak of, the humans can somehow open them. It's like some dark magic. Dear kitten, I should warn you of the monster known as vacuum. It can eat and yell at the same time. And I've seen it eat everything. Seriously, like a paperclip and 2 cat toys. Didn't even flinch. To hide from vacuum, you may use the curtains of invisibility. Oh yeah, you're good. Good hiding. Oh boy. Dear kitten, one final note. Once in a while you might see a little red dot. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is real, and it can be caught. I did it once. I held it for a full minute, but when I lifted my paws, it was gone. So kitten, welcome to the household. You'll do just fine.
Who weirdly thinks that Frisky's wet food looks delicious right now? So that one's super, super fun, and it's funny in its own right. And then there's this very kind of specific balance of, obviously there's some product placement, but it's woven in nicely, it's not heavy-handed, it's not like, I don't think you come away from that saying like, wow, that was all about Friskies, but I think at the end you think, like, that was an amazing video that I do want to share with everybody who loves cats, and also, Friskies, which is the idea. So over 18 million views for that one video, and a lot of that is on kind of the heels of all of the work that we've done for BuzzFeed Video as a whole. So as I was saying, we have a video studio in LA, with over 100 editors and directors and producers putting together short form content. And kind of after putting out dozens and dozens of videos a week and iterating on that content, we have over 500 million monthly views to our content, which is obviously like a huge platform and a great place for us to seed content for a brand. I think we have over 8 million subscribers now as well. So when we create a video, we are putting it out on our YouTube channel, seeding it there. We're also seeding it on BuzzFeed.com proper within posts, and then also amplifying it across social channels like Facebook and Twitter and StumbleUpon, and just trying a lot of other tactics. And we've seen a lot of success with Facebook's new in-feed video as well. And so we put some paid promotion behind it, but kind of the thrust of the views to that Friskies video are all as a result of sharing. So it's like a small seed to get it out in front of the right people, find the right people via social, and then let other people evangelize for you. And this is one of the coolest things, I think. If you go to YouTube and type in kitten, you'll get 2 sponsored ads, or sponsored videos, right, in the sponsored slot. This first one from Greenie's Dental Treats has 33,000 views, which is actually pretty good for a sponsored video. And then the second slot has 3,000 views. Obviously, they're paying a lot of money to be there in the right place, in like contextually relevant area. And then this organic result right at the top of the page, at the time, Dear Kitten had 14 million views. So it's just like this virtuous cycle of creating a good video, having a great strategy means that it is just on a tear and continuing to earn more views. So step 5 is when you have a winner, to build on that success. Cats. So with Purina specifically, it's a great example. That Dear Kitten video didn't just come out of nowhere. It was heavily informed by an edit video that we did that is called Sad Cat Diary. Google that and watch it later. If you liked Dear Kitten, you will like this one. It helped inform kind of the tone and the style, and there were some things that we tried in production that we realized like that had legs and we could do a little bit more of it. Thus begat Dear Kitten and A Cat's Guide to Taking Care of Your Human. Really awesome, great results. So Purina said, you know what, let's make this a thing, let's do more. So the next step is that we have now a whole ongoing series where we are testing and learning and putting out a lot more content for the brand. And in the process, Purina is seeing a 58% increase in purchase intent just around this product and this video, which is obviously music to any marketer's ear. Leading us to, obviously, you need to see Dear Kitten regarding the dog, which just launched recently, and Dear Kitten launched, I think, in like May, June, and this one launched just about a month ago.
Dear Kitten, you've probably noticed that there's a new thing in the house. It is called a dog. And I know this because before you, I had a best friend named Peanut. Rest in peace. At first, I assumed Peanut was just a very ugly cat. Charming in his own way, but terrible breath. Awful. So, Kitten, here are some things that you need to know. Dear Kitten, imagine a cat. Now take away independence, cleanliness, and intelligence. What you have left is basically a dog. Here's an example. Yesterday, I saw the dog sitting on his butt, scooching forward with his front paws, and he looked over at me. And you know what he said? He said, "Check it out, I'm walking on 2 legs just like the peoples do." I mean, it gives you an idea of what we're dealing with here. Dear Kitten, you might see me get a little ninja crazy town now and then. You know, like a... Don't get freaked out. I'm just expressing dominance, which is... Oh my, no, you are not good at that. Oof, that was actually worse. It looked like your spine just sneezed. Oh boy. Dear Kitten, you might hear the phrase, "A dog is a man's best friend." That is, frankly, incredible marketing on their part. I don't know how they did it. They're certainly not buying ads in the newspaper. I mean, have you seen what they do with newspapers? Trust me, it's the opposite of reading, if you know what I mean. I mean, they poop on them. Dear Kitten, the dog is the sort of creature that will decide whether it should put something in its mouth by putting it in its mouth. That's the level of decision-making that goes on. They basically eat everything. Case in point, butt paper. They even eat those weird brown dehydrated pip nuggets that the humans give us. Don't get mad. Let the dog eat all of our dry food. If it gets caught, it gets put in jail. And right then, we can enjoy the moist deliciousness of the can without interruption. It's a gambit. Dear Kitten, you may hear the dog being referred to as a puppet, which I think is some sort of a French way of saying puppet. This explains why they attach that string to him from time to time. Worst marionette ever, if you ask me. But the point is, if they try to put that string on you, just freeze. You don't want to get into show business, trust me. Dear Kitten, Yes, the dog can be cuddly at times. I mean, just today he came over and he started licking the inside of my ears. Was it weird? Yes, but also rather pleasant. Don't judge. When they get happy, stay to the front, because their tails become some sort of a weird psycho-furry sword. I mean, I've seen them take the legs right out from under a baby. Dear kitten, our lives just got a bit more difficult, and alone time will be harder to find. But at least we can rest assured that the humans won't get too lonely during our naps, and perhaps that is enough. That's right, doggy. Bow down.
So there's more you can watch. But that's it. 5 steps. One is you don't make a viral video. The second is form a human connection and know your audience. Distribute, and then test, learn, and repeat. And you have succeeded. If anybody has a question, I will be happy to answer. Yes.
You mentioned you posted videos both on your own site and then also on YouTube. I'm so loud, I don't know if you need a mic. Do the search engines penalize when the same content is posted twice? Does Google penalize for that or no?
In this case, no, because it's a YouTube embed. So it's all the same video. So the video count is the same.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you do you transcribe the video so that you have the copy of the video also, or do you just? So do you have the text of the video, or is it just only in the video?
I don't know that we've done anything. Do you mean like for hearing impaired, or just to have it, or
For SEO.
Oh, for SEO. I think that they do a lot of the keywords, but I don't think the whole thing. Gotcha. Good question. Yeah.
Most of your income come from producing these and partnering with organizations, or is it from advertising? Would you like this?
Sorry, say the second part again.
Or is it more advertising for maybe things you have on your site, or is it your partnerships?
So yeah, so I didn't explain BuzzFeed at all. So BuzzFeed is like a media company. We have hundreds of writers, editors, from the serious, real journalists who are around the world in Syria and Russia and all that, to the silly people making fun lists. And our revenue model is that we don't have any banners. Everything that we do is content. So we create custom content in collaboration with brands that we post on BuzzFeed. So I wasn't actually showing you like the BuzzFeed.com site where we kind of created this model and started it. But all of our revenue comes from that sponsored content that's all native and in the feed. And then we do the same thing for video. So video has a very large presence on YouTube, obviously, because that's where people are consuming a lot of video. Also lives on BuzzFeed.com, so there's cross-pollination across them.
Thank you. You mentioned the 58% lift in purchase intent. Over what time frame is that for a video?
So that was actually a study that Purina did on their own, but basically before they launched this video through the end of the program. So I think it was like over a 2 to 3 month period. But I should have the actual study if you wanted to see it. Anything else? Oh, yes.
This may be a silly question, but since video content is king moving forward for all businesses, how often do you think, because it could be quite expensive to produce and have like a high quality video, how often do you think companies should be engaging when it comes, you know, not everybody is huge and has thousands of dollars to spend all the time on that, so.
I think that really depends too, because there's also a lot of video options, right? What we're doing is short form 2 to 3 minute video that's not like millions of dollars to produce, that you produce like one video a year and then you're putting it in broadcast. What we're doing here would maybe be like 1 or 2 per quarter of this style, but the important thing is that video doesn't have to be really high production value, right? It has to hit on those kind of emotional cues and speak to somebody and be real. So I think you could go about it in a way that's fairly low budget and do it, but I don't think you have to be doing it like once a week or once a month. The important thing is that you have a good distribution platform and like a strategy to get it out there if you're bothering to make it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.